Our first lesson this morning is from Acts. It follows Peter miraculously reviving Tabitha/Dorcas from the dead after Jesus has died. The body has been prepared, the widows are weeping heavily, and the scene Peter comes into is truly upsetting. Peter comes to this house, clears the room, kneels beside Tabitha, and prays. Now, for context, we have a little backstory. Jesus, as we know, has told his disciples to go out and spread his word and serve his people after his death. This lesson is a perfect example of his followers doing exactly that. After praying, Peter simply instructs Tabitha to stand. He says, "Tabitha, get up." That's all it takes. Get up is what my mom says to me when it's almost noon and I'm still sleeping. It's not any huge, significant statement. Even though Tabitha is being raised from the dead, one of the most unfathomable miracles ever performed in the Bible, the heavens don't part and angels don't appear. Peter prays, he instructs Tabitha to get up, and then she does. The simple act of praying and performing the work of God is enough to bring this fully dead woman to life in an instant. It isn't dramatic because it doesn't have to be. In this reading, God shows us that as difficult as we may think it can be to do his work, he is really the one doing the heavy lifting. If we are faithful, we try, and we pray, we can do what he asks, even if it seems daunting. However, prayer and faith aren't the only things that make doing God's work possible. My sophomore year, I took a class called World Religions. The first unit we studied that year covered the actual practical definition of a religion rather than any one specific faith. The textbook we used listed 7 major components that made a religion considered officially a religion. One of these elements was community, which originally struck me as a little strange, but through my own experience at this church, it has become obvious that community is certainly one of the most crucial components of a religion. Having people who share your faith and want to see it flourish is so important to the growth and development of that faith. A community that supports and encourages you in good times and bad can make all the difference, especially to young people. I've grown up here in this church. My family began coming to services at St. George's when I was about 10. Back then, I could never have imagined being 18 years old, let alone 18 on the verge of leaving for my first year of college and standing here speaking to all of you like this. This place has been a very special type of home for me. So many people have come into my life here and impacted me to be the person I am today. So many mentors, both official and unofficial, have guided me, and the presence of such a faith community has completely altered the trajectory of my journey of not only faith, but life in general. The omnipresent support and sense of community I have felt here has been an incredibly positive influence on me over the years. That type of system is so important to the nurturing and fostering of faith, especially in the youth of any religious community. It can be difficult or scary at times to build and maintain a strong faith in the world and to try to do the work we are called to do by God. There are always terrible things happening in the news, and without the reminder that there are also incredible things taking place in the world, young people can lose sight of the possibilities and importance of faith. Today's psalm is Psalm 23, which is one of the most famous biblical passages of all time. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want." Without Jesus, much of the world had fallen into darkness and sin. It can be surprisingly difficult to maintain a track toward a goal without a leader. For the disciples, that leader was obviously Jesus. So after his death, they became panicked, believing that they had been left completely alone. However, they soon grew into leaders of faith for others as they spread the good news, like in our first reading when Peter revives Tabitha. Then, after their time, the church became the guiding force for parishioners. And even further, within each church, there has grown an even finer distinction. The young parishioners, even if we don't consciously realize it, are looking to the generations above us. As Jesus was a shepherd to us, the church tends to be a similar guiding presence in the eyes of the youth. So like Peter did when he healed Tabitha, the members of the church do the work of the Lord when they lead by example. When you all provide a community that does the work of the Lord, when you are welcoming and kind every Sunday, when you ask about my life and show genuine interest in what I have to say, you all are drawing me closer to the church and to God. By simply praying and trying to do what God has called you to do, by treating the young people in this church with love and respect, you are accomplishing much more than you probably think. So I thank you all for this community of faith that you have built at St. George's, and that I hope that it will continue, that you will continue to foster the growth of the youth in the church in these years to come.